What's up everybody? Welcome back to Selling Vega, and thanks for tuning into today's video. We'll be continuing our charts, patterns, and indicator series today. Talk about our first volume-based leading indicator, on-balance volume. What it is, how it's calculated, and how you guys can utilize it in your trading strategies. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my page, and hit that alert button so you know firsthand when our next videos drop. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about on-balance volume, or OBV. It's the first volume-based indicator that I'm covering on this channel. It provides a running total of trading volume and is often used as a way to predict momentum and sentiment in an asset. Here is the formula for how it's calculated. This might look more confusing than it is. It's simply calculated by adding the volume on up days and subtracting the volume on down days, and then plotting that running total as a line, which you can see here on the bottom, this blue line right here, OBV. You can add it to your charts by clicking on indicators here and just starting to type in on balance volume. It's a built-in indicator here on TradingView. The way OBV is utilized by traders is by spotting trends in the movement of the line itself. It doesn't really matter what the number of this OBV line is showing, but rather the trend of the line itself. Traders will often look for divergences between what the stock is doing versus what the OBV line is doing as a way to spot a sign that the volume is telling us something that the stock price is not. The whole idea behind this is the concept of institutional money versus retail money. Institutional money is typically moving first in the market before retail investors have caught on. This will create scenarios where stock prices are telling you one thing, but volume is telling you a completely different story. This is where volume-based leading indicators like on-balance volume can really come in handy and help you spot these divergences of information. An example of this is when the OBV line is trending up or flat while the stock price makes lower lows. This would be an indication to buy, as it is a sign that perhaps the retail community is pushing the stock price down while institutions continue to add shares at these lows, which reflects in a rising or steady OBV. Perfect example of this would be Netflix from a few months ago. They reported their earnings on, I think, late April. April 20th, and the stock dropped pretty significantly. Let's zoom in right here. So you can see that significant drop right here, and then from here for the next 2 months, Netflix steadily trends down while that OBV is flat, actually in an upward trajectory. The bottom of the OBV was right here on the 23rd at 1.793, and then every single low point that we made as Netflix continued to go lower, that OBV line continued to make higher lows. So that would be a sign that you might want to get into this, because the volume is telling you something that the Netflix price isn't, and perhaps Netflix may be heading higher soon. Some possible entry points would be maybe here or here, basically any point that's confirming these lower highs, or I'm sorry, higher lows in the OBV. If you want a safer entry point, you can draw these channel lines just like I do and wait for a breakout on both. That way you have the stock price and the OBV line working in unison with you, which is a way to confirm and maybe have a safer outcome. So an entry point would be right here. Another example is when the OBV line is trending down or flat while the stock price makes higher highs. This would be an indication to sell. Here we can use Palantir as an example. So let's pull up Palantir going back to late last year and early this year. We saw that meteoric rise in Palantir from around Christmas time all the way until towards like the end of January here. We hit a high of 33.50 before pulling back a bit and then rising rapidly again and hitting a $45 high. But What this wasn't accompanied by was a high in the OBV, a newer high in the OBV. The OBV actually is on a flat downward trajectory, which can be confirmed by looking at these peaks right here, and right here. So that would be an indication that, retail money might be behind this move to the upside, since the down day volume has been larger than the up day volume between all these peaks. So these are the types of charts or the types of divergences that I look to see on charts that makes OBV a very useful tool. A good entry point here would be maybe on this day or on the next day, once it's confirmed that this peak was lower than the previous peak right here. But if you're looking for a safer entry point, you can wait until the OBV and the stock price are moving in unison with you, which would be on this day, February 9th, as you can see, or I'm sorry, the next day, February 10th, because you have that lower high on Palantir stock, as well as a lower high on the OBV line. So that next day of down might be your confirmation to get in on this stock to the downside. And this is ultimately how I like to use the on-balance volume tool. I like to track the large cap, institutionally owned names and spot divergences in the OBV and the price action of the stock. It might not trigger as often as some other popular indicators that are out there, but when it does, it can really help you spot some big price movement before they happen. Just look at the Palantir move from the high all the way to the low here, which you can follow the trend of on-balance volume as well along with that, as well as the move in Netflix that could have been spotted at this time by using this on-balance volume indicator as well, since that late April report. On-balance volume is one of my favorite volume-based leading indicators. It can help me spot trends in markets that the stock price itself cannot tell me. Knowing the volume, the direction of that volume, and the trend of that volume are incredibly helpful tools. It helps us retail traders spot what the institutions may or may not be doing, even when it's not reflected yet in the stock price. It can help us as traders stay ahead of the curve and spot opportunities. Thanks again for watching my video. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my page, as it really does help me continue to help you guys. Feel free to comment any feedback or ideas for future videos as well in the comment section below. We'll see you next time on Selling Vega. Happy trading. Let's make some money.